Hello, my beautiful queens. How are you doing? Welcome to Crown's Reflections, episode 2 of Reclaiming Your Crown, part 2. Also, a shout out to the kings that are listening to this podcast. Welcome and enjoy yourself. In this beautiful episode, I want to talk about certain topics. I want to talk about discernment. I want to talk about detachment. I want to talk about working inside out and everything that comes with with reclaiming your crown. I want to take a deeper look with you guys into the essential phase of self-discovery. And yes, I want to talk about certain patterns that you usually realize when that awareness kicks in, when you see yourself for the first time and you're like, okay, this is it. You can see your patterns. You can see you for who you are. And then one of the most important and amazing tools that you're going to need in this, especially for decision making and moving through phases and awakenings and everything, is discernment. Discernment is such an amazing tool, and it's so bendable and it's so timeless that you can use it in any stage, phase, time, space. That's how amazing it is. It helps you with making decisions, especially when you're on your spiritual journey. And when it comes to discernment, excuse for that. Today my voice is a bit rusty. It is the tool that is gonna help you notice when your inner dialogue is leading you, or when your trauma is misleading you. Because there's a thin line between those two. There's a thin line between your spirit speaking, your ego raging, outside noise. There's a thin line, and utter truth can become yours if you consume it on a daily. And the most beautiful thing in reclaiming your power, your crown, is finding your truth. Finding your truth is so important. Knowing who you are, knowing what you stand for, knowing where you want to go, and also understanding who you've been and why you've been the way you've been. A lot of us have been living lives that are actually not ours. We have been living lives that have been placed upon us, by our parents, our caretakers, grandma, auntie, your environment. Like, everybody had a say, but nobody actually listened to you because most of the time, you don't know what you want. They tell you that you don't know what you want, but most of the time you know what you want. And I am a firm believer of you choosing your own path, you making your own mistakes. When you make those mistakes, when you learn those lessons, there is where your power lies. And if you prevent someone from learning their lesson, you actually stand in the way of their power. That's also a gem I want to give to you guys. And in that moment of seeing yourself in front of the mirror for the first time, when you're self-reflecting, there is where it's actually one of the most beautiful moments, because you really get to see where you are, you get to see where you were, and you get to see where you're going to. So discernment is really one of the most important tools that you're gonna need in this journey, in this lifetime, actually. And some beautiful tools to strengthen your discernment are mindfulness. Mindfulness helps with becoming aware of your triggers. Like, what is the root of the trigger? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I reacting this way? Does it stem from my intuition, or does it stem from my trauma? It's literally like self-examination. So mindfulness is also one of the tools that will strengthen your discernment, that will make you sure. Journaling also helps with releasing the clutter that's in your mind. And our mind is usually so full of unprocessed emotions, thoughts, and all of that stuff, because it also has to do with what we consume on a daily. Like, I have this saying, like, I rather experience than consume. Because when you consume, it's to take in. And if you do not process it, it can get clogged, So be mindful and be aware of what you consume, and use your journaling tool to release the clutter. I also have a tool that goes deeper, but I'm going to discuss that one when we're going to go into the shadow work, because that's when you're going to need it the most. For this phase, journaling, being mindful are the right tools, to just be able to digest what's going on. Seeking solitude is also one of the tools methods that will strengthen your discernment, because seeking solitude, that's where you find your peace. That's where you become still. That's where you hear yourself. Sometimes you're going to hear your unprocessed thoughts, and it's okay. You're just going to listen to them. You're going to process them. You're going to release them. If that's too much in that moment, take a pen, take a paper, write everything that's coming to mind. I call it mind dump. Write everything and burn it. When you burn it, you release it. Go sit on some grass. It sounds so weird, but go in your yard, barefoot, sit in the grass, breathe, take some deep breaths in and out. Give it all to the earth, give it all to the universe, give it to God, give it to Allah, whomever you are following. Give it to them and release it. It's not meant to remain in your headspace like that, because it's not adding to anything positive. It's just like confusing you and creating more turmoil and chaos within your mind and your inner self, So discernment and these tools, like your body awareness also, like your body knows when something's up, and our body is actually our first sign. You know when it's not your partner. You know when that job is not for you. You know when you're not supposed to be in that space. You know, your body knows. And when your body reacts a certain way, do not ignore it. Do not ignore it. Listen to your body. Tune into your body and react on it. I'm not going to dwell too much on the discernment part, because this is actually more than enough to take your own deep dive. But discernment helped me a lot on my journey. I love these, I don't know how you call it in English. In Dutch, it's ezelsbruggetje. And I love it so much that I created certain little riddles that help me in certain situations. Like, for instance, if I know that I'm going to go on a trip or do something, those who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to explain it. When I'm going to go on a trip, or I'm going to partake in a ritual or anything where I'm going to have to take in a substance, I know that these substances are made for exploring and having that deeper understanding that you need to see certain things. Like, they're sacred, and that's how I treat them. But also in their sacredness, I do not leave space for turmoil to seep in. So before I do it, I have this little riddle that I created, and that's keep me sane, keep me safe, keep me calm, collected, guided and protected at all times. And it does it every time, because it does not leave spaces open for me to start tripping out or having a bad trip. No. I set my intention. I use my discernment. So in those moments when I feel something coming up and it's like, okay, this is not mine, I know how to make a difference because I also ask for it. So in this context and everything, being intentional is also very important. Set your intention. If you're going to have a difficult conversation with somebody beforehand, set your intention of how you want it to go. I'm a person, I love to have pure conversations, especially when it's a difficult one. I want us to find a solution, because in this multiverse that we're living in, I am living in my truth, you're living in your truth. That is your truth, and I respect and honor it, but I also respect and honor my truth. So if it has to do with, let's say, on a platonic relationship base, I would love to have that conversation with you. I would love to find a solution with you, because to me, it's not who wins the conversation, because if I win, we did not get to an agreement or nothing, so nobody wins. If you win, it's the same thing. It's about taking accountability. It's about valuing the other's opinion and respecting their truth, but also seeking a solution in that same situation. So be intentional. Set an intention. If I'm gonna have a difficult conversation with somebody, I'm gonna be like, okay, let's do this. I want this conversation to be clear. I want there to be mutual respect. I want calmness. I want us to understand each other, and I want us to get to a solution. And trust me, if you set the tone for that conversation, honey, you're gonna see a shift happening. And it's not even about casting a spell, because it's gonna benefit the both of y'all. So set your intention. Also part of discernment. Know when somebody really intentionally hurt you, or when they did not hurt you on purpose. Know the difference. And I'm so sorry. In most situations, you know it. Your gut knows it. You know that person would not hurt you on purpose. Have that conversation instead of making that thought consume you and creating a whole narrative and a whole story that is not even based on the truth. Just have that conversation and free yourself in that moment. So discernment has to do with a lot of things. And I have this example that I can give you guys. I'm also a dream analyst, so I read dreams. And I had moments on my journey where I would have this thing that I would think about, and I would take it to sleep with me. It would manifest in my dream as a dream or as a message. And I had two choices: either to call that person and tell that person I have a message for you, or to confirm and check with my guides, my spirit team, the universe, like, hey, is it a message, or did I bring this from my subconscious into, my dream world? So ask questions. If I have a dream, if I get a message, the first question that I ask is, can I get a confirmation? Is it for this person? What is the dream trying to tell me? What is going on? And when am I supposed to deliver the message? So using all those tools and having that discernment is going to bring you so far in life, in making choices, in doing a job, in knowing when something is for you and when it's not. And stop forcing yourself in spaces where you're not meant to be because somebody said so. Start canceling the noise outside of you and start listening to your inner dialogue, because your inner dialogue is your compass. And even in your inner dialogue, you need to practice discernment, because you have your ego, you have your higher self, you have your whole spirit team with layers, your ancestors, you have your past versions, you have a lot that is you. And as you go on this journey, they're gonna pop up, you're gonna hear them. One of the things that I also asked, I didn't even know how intentional I was until I think a couple of years ago when I had a conversation with a friend, and that person was like, girl, you've been intentional your whole life. I'm like, what are you talking about? But it's true. I have been intentional because I did protect myself from things that could have been worse. They were not good, but they could have been worse. And I was really, really, really surprised by that, actually, that I learned how to be intentional from a very young age due to certain circumstances. But I've always asked, like, let me know the difference between my ego, between when my spirit is speaking, and between when my ancestors are speaking, or a trickster spirit outside of me wants to act like an ancestor. Like, let me know the difference. Like, discernment is literally knowing the difference between what you need to listen to and what's trying to mislead you. So practice that. With discernment also comes detachment. And detachment, honey, detaching from the reality that you've known your whole life, detaching from the patterns that have been taught to you, detaching from environments that you've known your whole life and are actually not as healthy as you thought they were, because now the glasses are off. You're gonna see things for what they really are, and most times they're not as beautiful as you thought they were, and your truth, your reality is not as healthy as you thought it was. I know that I have been dealing with not feeling safe in my body for the longest, and I did not know where it was coming from. Still dealing with insomnia, and I thought it came from an accident that I had 10 years ago, but that was literally the drop that didn't even make the bucket overflow. Oh no, the bucket just burst, and there was no goddamn bucket anymore, so yeah, I didn't have a bucket to fill anymore, so I was just unfiltered from that moment on. But I had to go back to my inner child, years to my not even my teen years, but I had to go back to see if my inner child was good and what happened and what actually disrupted my sleeping pattern. And we're going to talk about it when we're going to talk about the shadow. Yes, I'm getting you guys pumped up for that. But with all that being said, yes, so it's gonna make you go to the root of stuff. That's why I tell you guys, cutting off is not it. It's temporary. Cutting off is temporary because the bond is gonna grow back. The invisible, how you call it, threat is gonna come back. But if you go to the root of the problem and you fix it there, or you release or do whatever you need to do at the root of the problem, that's when you release stuff. That's when you break generational curses. That's when you're gonna really experience a relief. So detaching is a very intense process, and I'm not gonna tell you, be like, yeah, just detach from everybody. That's not it. You're gonna have a valid reason to detach yourself, and with that comes your voice of reason. You're gonna have to listen to your voice of reason, and that's the voice that's inside of you, the voice that tells you when somebody's busy raging at you, honey, be still, or honey, we're not doing this. Set your boundaries. Also coming with detachment, setting boundaries, because when you set your boundaries and you are known for being a people pleaser and a codependent person, I was codependent, I was a people pleaser, like it was like I was put on this earth to just serve and just to just be that person for everybody and nothing for myself. And I don't know where I got it from. I'm not blaming anybody, but a lot of us have this, and it is not a good place to be. I was so in my victimhood, like, yeah, I gave everything, I did everything. Who asked you, honey? That was the most gut-wrenching react I got to literally sacrificing a lot of things from me for others. And that gut-wrenching reaction was actually the gut punch that I needed to like snap back into reality and be like, kisi moy. Kiss you moy. Kiss you moy is literally like, yeah, you should have known better. You just should have known better. But even in that moment, I met it with grace and understanding. At first, I was pissed as fuck. I was raging. I was mad. And then the switch came and I was like, no. Because I started seeing my fault in that because I let that happen. I didn't set boundaries. Everybody had easy access to me. I was the people pleaser because I wanted to belong. I was the go-to friend. I was the go-to anything. Like, I wanted to belong because I never felt like I fitted in. Because I was a bit weird and I hid it for so long from a lot of people, like even my family, that when I went through the dark night of my soul, they thought I was going crazy. And when I actually was my real self, they were like, who are you? I don't know you anymore. And that's where I saw, like, in this journey, your mask are gonna fall. And that's when you're gonna see yourself for who you are. And when my masks fell and I took accountability for everything that had happened to me, everywhere that I projected, everywhere where I was mean, and everything that I did that was not good in my eye, I literally took accountability for that. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be what others want me to be. I just want to be who I am. And I know a couple of years ago, I had this conversation with my mom where she was like, yes, I miss the old you and stuff. Sorry, mom, I have to say this. And I told her something painful, and I was mad in that moment when I said it to her. But I had to come back and apologize for that because that was not it. And I'm not going to repeat what I said to her, but I will say this. It can be very triggering when people are going to ask the old you, and you know that people pleasing is connected to that. Being codependent is connected to that. Not being your true authentic self is connected to that. So it is going to trigger you, and you're going to sometimes lash out, and it's okay. You just need to meet up with grace, take accountability, and apologize. And also forgive, because I had to forgive the people around me that were actually asking for that version of me, because that's the version that they knew. That's the version that I fed them. And I could not get mad in that moment because I wanted them to be there for my authentic version, because they did not know that. And we also need to learn that our friends, our families, they're going to love us as far as they love themselves. And you're going to have to meet them there. Don't be expecting a whole lot of overflowing water from somebody that it's literally living on a drop. Don't be expecting that from them. That is so unfair. I also did that in the past, but I had to stop with that. And yes, you guys are going to hear the sirens. I'm so sorry for that, but it comes with it. It's as raw as it gets. I hope everybody's safe. But to continue where I left off is I did apologize to my mom. One moment. Okay, yes, we're back. I did have to apologize to my mom, and I explained to her, like, Mom, this is me now. This is me now. It might be weird to you, but this is me authentically, and I need you to love this version of me, because that other version, it does not exist anymore, and I don't plan on going back. Over the years, I had some beautiful, also intense conversations with my mom, because I really wanted us to, like, have the bond that we have now. It's not perfect. It's not where we both want it to be, but we're both working on it. And I'm so thankful for her opening up to me, because she's also on her journey. I had to see her for who she is, also a human being with her own baggage, with her own traumas, with her own lessons that she learns, her own patterns. And I had to come to terms to love her for who she is, and I'm thankful for her being my mothership. And I would choose her over and over again, because even though we have our differences and we do not see eye to eye, often she has been a safe space for me as far as she could be, because that is also what she got and I made sure that when I become a mom, that I'm a much safer space for my babies, because what she actually did so much with what she got. And most of her parents did not get a lot, because we come from a long line of a lot of dysfunction, if I have to say it like that. Things that were seen nor deemed normal, and they're not. Because a lot of people were like, yeah, we didn't die, y'all didn't die, but y'all were frustrated, y'all were so overworked, y'all were angry most of the time. And I want to be a parent who is present. I want to be a parent who is calm. I know I'm gonna scream, I know, but I don't want to be a parent that is frustrated or so tired of society working me to the bone, because our parents did offer a lot. And back then, money, material, that's what you needed. What most of our parents failed to see is that the safe space, the mental health is also very important, but they could not give us what they could not give to themselves. And I'm thankful that we are the generation that where the shifts happens. Like, I also have older people that are doing their work, and I'm so proud of them. But us just making that space, creating that space for ourselves where we heal, we become intentional, we see things for what they are, and doing better is the shift that is needed. I learned not to force people to see your point of view, but to do you and start your healing journey and do it, and the energy will flow. They either will get inspired when it's their time, and we need to stop telling people to wake up. It's not our job. Everybody is exactly where they need to be. Stop telling people, yeah, you should know. Shut up, and mind your business. If you can't be a supportive friend, if you can't be someone who's going to listen, if you can't be someone who's going to be there for that person, just remove yourself and leave that person alone. Leave that person alone and just shut up. So we really need to become more mindful and intentional when it comes to the words we speak, how we move, when it comes to our journey, our life, even our spiritual journey. And when you make those types of shifts, you will see a difference. And that's why I also started with the self-reflecting thoughts. Actually, Crowned Reflection was inspired by a rant that I had every day, not every day, occasionally. I have these downloads, and then I start talking, I record myself, and I started writing my self-conscious thought by Shadow Vault. And I used to post them, and I used to get feedback on them, like, you know what, Shara, that's exactly what I needed in that moment and stuff. But because I was scared to do a podcast, I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna just be writing and I'm gonna put it out. And here we are now with Crowned Reflections. And it's just like you're having a conversation, or you're listening to a conversation that I'm having with you in this moment. And yes, I just hope that you guys hear me clear. I always say, take what resonates, leave the rest. Some people eat the bone, some people don't. Some people just eat the chicken. So just take what resonates and leave the rest. Getting back on topic, because yes, I tend to yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. But we were at detaching. Yes, detaching from everything that you've known, actually. And detaching without actually placing the blame on others. That's where the key lies. Seeing their truth, respecting and honoring it, and choosing if you want to partake in that or not. There's where discernment comes in. Then you have detachment. And even in detaching, to be able to understand it and to do it in a healthy way. Self-love. Self-love is one of the things that's going to have to kick in, because if something is unhealthy for you, baby, let it go. Let it go. If something is triggering you, meet the trigger with understanding and ask it. Go research, go see, go explore and see why it triggers you. And if you had a conversation with that person because you're setting boundaries, because setting boundaries is a big part of that, and that person continues to trigger you, you have the choice to detach yourself, because that's your choice. If you choose to stay in that relationship or whatever it is, you actually show the universe that is what you deserve, and that's more of what you're going to get, because it's going to multiply. The universe literally magnifies what we choose and what we choose to focus on. Keep that in mind. There comes mindfulness. So be aware, be intentional of the choices you make. And I say it again, we live in a multiverse where there's many truths. They do coexist. What's good for you doesn't have to be good for me, honey, and what's good for me doesn't have to be good for you, honey. So that's why it's so important for you to get to know yourself and to really go on a journey of self-discovery. when it comes to reclaiming your crown, because you cannot reclaim your crown if you do not know who you are. And your crown is actually your power. So when you figure out who you are and you're on that journey and you're using your tools, that is when you're going to be able to reclaim your crown, honey. I actually mixed up a whole lot of stuff because I was talking about your voice of reason, becoming intentional, honoring your boundaries. I also talked about, and last but not least, I wanted to talk about the dark night of the soul. Those who went through it already know exactly what I'm talking about, but the dark night of the soul is literally your first awakening. And that one is mostly very excruciating and intense. Yeah, I don't sugarcoat stuff here. Like, everybody that's worked with me, everybody that's been guided by me, even my friends, my families that are busy with their spiritual journey, know I don't sugarcoat stuff. If you're scared and you don't want to do it, fine, but I'm not going to tell you it's all rainbows and kisses. It's not. No, I'm going to tell you that you are even going to forget people. You are even going to think that you're losing your marbles because it is so unknown. It's such new territorium that you're like, what the hell? Because a lot of shedding is going to happen. And I said shedding is gonna happen. I know my first dark night of the soul came right after the car accident 10 years ago, and I hit rock bottom. Literally, I had a broken arm. My business wasn't going. I was depressed. I was dealing with grief on multiple levels, and I was like, okay, now I'm in a dark spot. I think I cursed out everybody around me and pushed them all away. Because I was in that victim moment and I was like, why is this happening to me? Why this? Why that? Why? A whole lot of ranting, a whole lot of crying. I was literally broken. That is the most broken I have ever been in my life. And I never want to go back to that. Like, the other awakenings, you're going to be able to, have that stamina. But the first one, honey. But I'm going to tell you this. It's worth it. It's needed. It's really needed for that process, because I remember feeling like I was in a dark, dark hole and I could not get out of it. And me being someone that had dealt with suicidal thoughts and a lot of things, I made a promise to myself when I was 15 years old. I remember, because that was the last time I actually tried to unalive myself. And I made that promise to myself that I would never do that, because my little brother was the one that actually caught me. And the way he screamed on top of his lungs, and the fear that I saw in his eyes that day, I remember it as like it was yesterday. That was one of the most painful moments for me. I know it was painful for him, but for me, I was like, no, I don't want to do this to my family. I was dealing with a lot of stuff, but it's just not the answer. And now that I'm this far on this journey, I do understand why it still isn't the answer. Because even if you unalive yourself, you actually throw yourself in a loop. And you're going to get stuck. And you're going to have to do more work. And I don't plan on doing more work. So, you know what? We're just going to make the best of it, while it lasts. So, me coming from that background and my friends knowing that, they were watching me like a hawk. Because that was the first time they saw me like that. Like, really lifeless. I was literally lifeless. And I remember sitting there in that dark hole, and I was like, you know what? Shit, we lost everything. It's okay though, but the only way is up. Literally, the only way is up. It can't get any better than this. So we might as well get the fuck up and get going and doing what the hell we need to do. And I remember my mom lived in Stasia, St. Eustatius. Shout out to St. Eustatius, one of the most amazing islands. I know people do not share the same opinion as me, but for somebody who loves nature and loves beautiful landscapes and views, the energy of St. Eustatius always made me feel at home. It was my home away from home, and I did a lot of healing there. I know that my mom brought me to White Wall. White Wall looked a bit like the top of Fortselandia in Suriname, but it's on a mountain. And it's not a fort, it just has the cannons and stuff. But it was so breathtaking and beautiful, because you would see the ocean, and then you would see St. Kitts and Nevis. It was so beautiful. And it felt like I could breathe, So my mom brought me there with a car, and my hand was in a slingshot. And I remember walking to the edge and looking at it. I was like, I want to come here and sit here, even if I just need to come and sit and cry here, And what I did, I was with an aunt of mine, and she was also going through something. And I was like, Auntie, let's walk to White Wall. And we did. We walked to White Wall, and I remember it being very emotional for me, because the road to White Wall was literally, it was broken up. It had holes and stuff. And in that moment, I saw the road as my life at that point. And when I reached white wall itself, it was like, honey, you have your goals. You're not gonna stay here forever, but see it as you're going somewhere. You don't know where, but it's gonna be beautiful and it's gonna be worth it. And I remember going multiple times to white wall. The first time I went alone, I also walked. And I had a conversation with myself while walking there. If you would see me, you would think I was crazy, but I didn't care. And when I got there, I screamed on the top of my lungs. And I was like, you know what? I don't know what is happening, but do whatever you need to do. I don't know who you are, but do whatever that you need to do, you know? And I went and sit in a lotus pose, just with my hands beside me. And I started breathing in and out. And I felt a calmness come over me. And in that moment, I didn't even know that I was meditating, because I just did what my body felt like doing in that moment. And when I realized that that was also meditating, I went a couple of more times, and it did a lot for me, because I could find the stillness that I needed. I canceled all the noise outside of me, and I started listening to my inner voice. And that's actually where I got my breakthrough in my dark night of the soul. You know, so finding your solitude, practicing stillness, and really just being intentional. You don't have to do a lot of things that you're not used to. Like meditating is dancing, meditating is singing, meditating is writing, meditating is cooking, doing something that calms you, that you like. Meditating is being in nature, it's swimming, it's a lot of things, honey. You will know what tools to use, and that's why I'm just laying them out here for you guys, so that you can pick up and create your toolkit and go about your business. We're here to help, we're here to guide. If you want a one-on-one with me, you can also contact me. If you're like, nah, I'm good, it's all good, honey. It's all good. I will be sharing some affirmations with you guys, some journal prompts, so keep on following our pages and our YouTube channel. But for this Friday, this is the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys found some beautiful gems, and I hope you guys can see that you're not alone on this journey. We're on this together, and yeah, may it add to your beautiful already essence and life. I love you guys. I'm so thankful for you guys, and be kind to yourself. Ashe. Bye.